I'm an ex-Christian looking back at bad arguments I found in the case for faith. I think this one is the worst in the book. Kreeft says, if there is no creator and therefore no moment of creation, then everything is the result of evolution. If there was no beginning or first cause, then the universe must have always existed. That means the universe has been evolving for an infinite period of time, and by now everything should already be perfect. There would have been plenty of time for evolution to have finished and evil to have been vanquished. But there is still evil and suffering and imperfection, and that proves the atheist wrong about the universe. Strobel replies, then atheism is an inadequate answer to the problem of evil? I set the book down after reading that. Wow. Kreeft shows an exceptionally poor understanding of both evolution and cosmology. I wasn't an expert on these topics. I wasn't even sure whether evolution was correct or not, and I only had a basic understanding of the scientific explanation of the origin of the universe. But I did know enough to know this was a false representation. After checking online, Wikipedia for the most part, the primary mistakes I recognized were: scientists believe the universe is around 13.8 billion years old, not infinitely old. Evolution does not make things perfect. It describes how biological life changes over successive generations. Evolution has nothing to do with the concepts of good or evil, and it has no end goal and will never finish. I had a rush of emotions and questions after reading this exchange. I was shocked and confused how it was possible for these errors to exist in such a highly praised book. Could Kreeft, a professor of philosophy at Boston College, really be that ignorant? Why doesn't Strobel correct him? This is elementary and high school material. Not only does Strobel not attempt to resolve these problems, he immediately agrees. That is some unbelievably shoddy work for a legally trained investigative reporter. I just couldn't make sense out of it at first, and then I was angry. I had always believed that we had highly educated, intelligent people on our side because I'd been told we did. But Strobel was supposed to have been one of those people, and in that moment I realized that I'd been fooled. I kept reading, but I no longer accepted that Kreeft was arguing in good faith. This was clearly an argument he had already developed, and it directly relied on misrepresenting the facts. As for Strobel, I asked myself just how hard it would have been to look up the basics on these topics at any point before publishing Kreeft's words. I now saw him as either poorly educated and incompetent at best, or at worst, a willing participant in deception. In retrospect, my faith was fundamentally damaged after reading this argument. Too many of the things that I believed and the people that I trusted were undermined. It wasn't just Strobel. It was all the people in my life who had been fooled by him. Many of them had read this and found it convincing. They were the same people who had taught me the truth of Christianity since before I could read. The same people who instructed me about God every week. Not only did they not recognize this was bullshit, Lee Strobel was a hero to them. For the first time, I realized that I needed to sort out for myself what was true.